Talk to us about nuclear and what we can do to reverse what these hippy dippy, well-intentioned, no nukes concert set us back 50 years. And let's be honest, a lot of the climate change problems we have today, we would not have if we had invested in nuclear.
Yeah, I sent around. Well, I sent around an image. Nick, maybe you can stick it in the show notes or something so that people can see. But if you graph the construction of nuclear reactors from like the 1960s to today, essentially and you color code them by country, what essentially you see is a transition from countries that basically were just right at leading the pack, and it was really the United States. Building. And then two things really happened. There was 3 Mile Island, and then there was Chernobyl. And there was an incredible overreaction to not really understanding either the cause and or the remediation to two events. Now, could you imagine if there were two airlines that crashed and we stopped flying? How basically we would have, retarded the progress of the world? And now you impose it on something like nuclear energy, which is consistently proven to provide an enormously abundant, cheap, and clean form of sustainable energy. And it actually solves a bunch of the problems we talked about before. So, for example, if you look at the power consumption for desalination, it's off the charts, quite honestly. Okay, that's why people say that it can't be done credibly. If you look at even just like the amount of energy that's required to clean water and to, sanitize water and make it drinkable, the standards that are defined by the government are incredibly stringent, but the implication of it operationally is an enormous amount of power that goes into it. But Jason, you are right, which is that if we have small forms of sustainable, abundant energy that can be basically hyper-localized and located where we can do these jobs, the jobs to be done, it's transformational. Now, why doesn't it happen? It doesn't happen because the same folks who really want to sound the alarm bells on climate change, which is the progressive left, are not really willing. They're intellectually lazy when it comes to nuclear. They don't do the work. They make a bland, sort of broad-based prognostication about how we need to do something about climate. Then they will point to solar and wind without really understanding the contamination of the earth that we do in order to mine the rare earths and the actual metal and mineral inputs that are required for solar. It's nuts.
But it sounds better, right? It sounds better. It's better optics. We're using air and the sun
and
water.
It's abundant. And it's like, if I could show you what tailings are and like the dirty after effects of mining copper and nickel out of the ground, which is what we need for batteries, and how countries like Indonesia are literally dumping it into the ocean, dumping it faster than they can get their hands on it so that they can sell copper and nickel and cobalt to us so that we can make batteries.